Welcome to Gonzaga University's 4th annual Social Justice Missioning Ceremony. We haven't actually been tracking this, but I am confident in saying that this is the warmest social justice missioning ceremony we've ever done. So thank you very much for being here to honor our students. My name is Chris Wheatley, and it is my honor to be with you here this afternoon. We are here tonight to honor the women and men of the class of 2013 who are making the choice to enter long-term service commitments upon graduation. These seniors embody Gonzaga's Jesuit purpose of forming men and women for others. During their time at Gonzaga, these seeds were cultivated by relationships with classmates, staff, and faculty members. And we're lucky enough to have some representatives here from a variety of different academic departments, faculty who have been critical in the development of these students. I'm also honored to be joined by a number of my colleagues and various staff members throughout the university. I'd like to especially thank the staff of the Center for Community Action and Service Learning, or CASEL, who were integral in making this event happen. And I'd also like to especially thank our colleagues in university ministry for sharing this space with us. Much appreciated. Thank you. We also have with us, and we're very lucky to have here with us, 5 different members of the presidential cabinet, and I'd like to introduce them just real briefly. We have the president of Gonzaga University, Dr. Thayne Mcculloh. We have the academic vice president, Dr. Patricia Killen. We have the vice president for student life, Dr. Sue Weitz. We have the vice president for mission, Father Frank Case. We have the vice president for university relations, Joe Poss. We have the assistant dean of students, Seema Thorpe. We also have with us many different representatives of the various post-service, graduate service, volunteer opportunities, and people who have done postgraduate service in the past. And if this list of faculty, staff, and administrators is any indication, you will see that from top to bottom, Gonzaga is absolutely committed to the development of these students, and we could not be more proud of them. But what we also recognize is that these seniors came to Gonzaga with the seeds of the qualities that we try to instill in them already sown by the greatest teachers of their lives. And for that, we'd like to take a moment to recognize all the parents and families in attendance. So please join me in a round of applause for them. At this time, I'd like to invite Father Frank Case, our Vice President for Mission, who will give the invocation.
Thank you, Chris, and good afternoon. Let's take a moment to realize where we are and who is with us. All the people who are with us and God who is present in those people and here in this sacred space. Gracious God of love and life, we are happily celebrating today the generosity of the students gathered here to be missioned to their respective volunteer service destinations here in the United States and around the globe. Your people await the marvelous gifts these Gonzaga representatives will bring into their lives, gifts of competence, compassion, and conscience. They have imbibed the mission you, as our God, have entrusted to Gonzaga University. And for this, we are proud of them and grateful for the gifts they have brought to the university during their studies here. They truly affirm the university's mission of educating students for lives of leadership and service for the common good. We pray that you will bless this assembly with a deep sense of purpose and peace. Please bless in a special way each of these women and men as they prepare to enter into voluntary service of your neediest children. Bless their travels and bring them home safely if the travels take them far from home. Bless their parents and families who will follow their work during their time away and anxiously await their returns. And finally, bless those they will be serving with your motherly and fatherly care, as we pray in your good and holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Father Case. Now it's my pleasure to bring up the director of the Center for Community Action and Service Learning and a former AmeriCorps service member to give our formal welcome, Todd Dunfield.
Welcome to this joyous occasion here in the Student Chapel. Today we will hear from some very inspirational speakers. It is with a heavy heart that we also say goodbye after 4 years to our graduating seniors. Some of you I've taught classes to, some of you I've been on immersion projects with, some of you I've slept on the floor next to you at those immersion projects. And we've also had many meaningful conversations together, whether it be in my office or over cups of coffee at Starbucks or other local places. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to how you've animated our campus. And because of students like you, Gonzaga got the best present we could have received during our 125th anniversary year, and that was to be recognized as #1 for Peace Corps volunteers currently serving in the Peace Corps. And I think that meant a lot to me as the director of Castle, that doesn't happen, but once in a blue moon, and it's a very special year for us, the 125th celebration. It's a very special honor for us to receive. Yesterday, I was reminded just how precious and short our lives really are, and how our big decisions in life can have some very lasting impacts. Decisions like where we go to college, who we choose to marry, and your first pursuits out of college. They really can change the trajectory of your whole life. I want to speak to you, the parents in the room, and I want to say to you, it will be worth it. Your sons and daughters exemplify the aspirations found in the current mission statement for Gonzaga. These soon-to-be graduates possess this mature commitment to dignity of the human person, social justice, diversity, intercultural competence, global engagement, and maybe my favorite, solidarity with the poor and vulnerable, and care for the planet. I'm very impressed by what I see in these students. And now I want to speak to you students in the room. You are leaving this veritable utopia of strong community here at Gonzaga University, full of trustworthy people, and you're entering into the next chapter of your life. There are going to be challenges. It'll be a time when you will have deep experience of consolation and desolation, but stay with it. If we here at Gonzaga have done our jobs well, then you are ready for the challenges that lay ahead. The information you learned in classes like philosophy of human nature, ethics, critical thinking, maybe it's all making sense why we have so much philosophy here, will be called upon in the coming years. Those of you who know me well know that I like to climb mountains, maybe not on days this hot though. And I also love to use metaphors, so I'm going to combine those two things. Your postgraduate service experience may be challenging in ways similar to summiting a peak. It could be physically draining. There could be many route-finding challenges to the top. You have to think about packing the right things and not too much for this journey. But be encouraged by the notion that no one arrives at the summit of a mountain and wishes they would have stayed at home. I'm going to turn to a French writer who said this much better than I and end with a piece of poetry that he wrote. René Dumont captured this in-depth of the pinnacle experience found in mountain climbing with these words. You cannot stay on the summit forever. You have to come down. So why bother in the first place? Just this. What is above knows what is below, but what is below does not know what is above. One climbs, one sees. One descends, one sees no longer, but has seen. There's an art of conducting oneself in the lower regions by the memory of what one saw higher up. When one can no longer see, one can at least still know. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Next, I'd like to welcome up Gonzaga's president, who guides all of us, faculty, students, and staff, in what our mission refers to as the Gonzaga experience, of which the students here today are a wonderful embodiment. Please welcome Dr. Thayne Mcculloh.
Good evening. Is it afternoon or evening? Sliding. I think all of us who have been here and have been living and working here these last few weeks will recall that just 2.5 weeks ago we had a little snow. So I think winter has finally given it up. And for those of you who've not been here in the summer, this is just the beginning. It's going to get really hot soon. But what a wonderful and really glorious weekend for us, because there have been some weekends where graduation has had snow. And so to be here together in this beautiful place on such a wonderful day is indeed a blessing. It's my privilege in particular to join with those of you who today we honor. It is just such a privilege to be here with you in a space and at a time that I know probably now, as you look at it, moved pretty quickly. Looking back, it looks a lot different than it looked on the way in. To me and to so many who are gathered together with you today, who really represent as well the Gonzaga family that is now spread worldwide. You graduating seniors who have elected to serve in all of the organizations that are listed in this program, you really represent for our global family a new expression of Gonzaga as gift to the world. You think about the mission of these organizations, the Jesuit Volunteer Corps, the Peace Corps, Teach for America, REACH, AmeriCorps, the Vincentian Volunteers, Friends of the Orphans, the Pacific Alliance for Catholic Education. These organizations have been laboring long to do many things, but they all share certain things in common. And those things they share are things that they now will be able to do because of you, because of your gifts and your talents. To me and to us, you are a manifestation of the Jesuit commitment to be and to live in solidarity with those in our world who are most in need. And today we hold you up. We hold you up as exemplars of an institutional mission that, if you read it carefully, is not satisfied with the idea that people go to school, go to university only to educate themselves, but rather one that prepares them to be available, to be in many ways an expression of the mission in ministry to others through lives lived in service. One of the earliest journeys that I made as president was to Hawaii. It was really tough duty, but we had to do it. Somebody had to go. And we were launching an alumni chapter in Honolulu. And there was the traditional group of alumni who were there, and then suddenly in the corner of my eye I saw a small group of relatively young-looking alumni, and I discovered that they had learned we were having this party in Honolulu, and they had come because they were on Teach for America. And they were working in Wailuku, and they had journeyed to be with us simply because they wanted some little taste of Gonzaga. The labor in Hawaii was, in many respects, no easier, perhaps even more difficult than some of the other missions that people who work in the organizations of which you'll be a part work around the world. But it was so important to them, as it is to us as well, to remain connected. And that is an open invitation that I want to extend to you. While you're out there doing this work, some of you will be close by, some of you will be very far away. Stay connected, Stay close to us, even spiritually. And I'm waiting for the next dumpster. And know that we are going to be joining with you in spirit and in prayer. Earlier today, I had lunch with the individual who is our distinguished graduate speaker for tomorrow at the graduate ceremony. His name is Father Peter Belies. He is a Jesuit, and he has joined us as well this afternoon. He's the international director of the Jesuit Refugee Service, a worldwide service. He spends much of his life working, as he has really all of his life, in the midst of hundreds of thousands of refugees of war and displaced people, particularly in Africa and Asia and the Middle East in these current times. Today he said something interesting that I thought I would share with you. He mentioned that it takes real work to keep a healthy society healthy. That societies that don't have people working at this quickly degrade, and he's borne witness to this many, many times. It takes real effort by real people who really commit themselves to using their talents. And although it's work, it also becomes, through that work, hope, which inspires people. He also talked about, as you'll hear throughout this weekend, the significant role that education plays in bringing real hope to societies, to cultures, and to people. That combination of your native gifts and the education that you've received at Gonzaga will serve you well, and it will stand you in good stead. But we also hold you up today in the recognition that what you have decided to do takes courage. It will not be easy. There will be times when it will be very frustrating. There will be times of loneliness. There will be times of difficulty that you have yet to be defined. Please know, again, that we are with you, and that you follow in the great tradition of so many alumni of this university who, after leaving the university, have committed themselves to the work in organizations that you now, in turn, become a part. On behalf of this grateful university and this community, I thank you. I look forward to hearing of your stories. I look forward to hearing of your experiences, because now you will go out into the world and you will indeed minister to people in communities of which you are going to become a part. God bless you, and please know that we are with you in spirit always. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McCulloh. Our keynote speaker for tonight is a classmate of mine, Gonzaga alum Brian Estes. Brian is an Eastern Washington native and has lived in Spokane since 2003. He graduated Gonzaga University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology in 2007, and eventually he served in the Jesuit Volunteer Corps at St. Margaret Shelter. Brian's interest in the health and well-being of communities drew him to work in local food systems, working for Catholic Charities of Spokane as the program coordinator of the Vinegar Flats Community Farm. He directs initiatives focused on utilizing our local food capacity to make healthy foods more affordable and accessible. Since 2012, Brian has also helped schools purchase regionally grown foods while working for the Washington Sustainable Food and Farming Network. He operates his own small produce operation in the summer, selling vegetables and herbs to Spokane restaurants. Brian is passionate about human-scale food systems, developing creative and efficient opportunities in response to challenges in the community, and working collaboratively while eating plenty of good food. Please welcome Brian Estes.
everybody. Thank you to the university and its administration, and especially Castle, for choosing to put time and energy into celebrating this component of the students' 4 years, and for emphasizing what, as an alumni, I see to be something that's such an important part of time spent at Gonzaga and time spent moving forward from Gonzaga. Thanks also to all the parents in the room. Happy Mother's Day weekend to come, and students, for whoever is family for you. I encourage you to take whatever, to take the opportunity to celebrate family in this time. And especially students, so you front row folks. Wow, thank you. I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to get to address this group. It means a lot to me to have this be to be able to share a little bit of my story and to reconnect with Gonzaga in this way. It's just, this is a cool space, and I'm very proud of you and grateful for you. I think the first thing I want to do, and this may be reconciling what I failed to do in 2007 during this time, I want to make sure that you graduates, soon to be, are really appreciating a sense of accomplishment over these next few days, and using all the pomp and circumstance and ritual to really think about what that means. I'm wearing my best clothes right now, but I've been accused of being a dirty farmer and a hippie and things like that. And pomp and circumstance and ritual don't always get me jazzed. And I know that when I graduated, even though I had felt so much meaning going into finishing at school, I did a lot of feeling a little embarrassed and rolling my eyes for getting singled out and made to walk across stages and having ceremonies celebrating my accomplishments and the things I was about to do. This is not just about celebrating you. It's about inviting you to commit and moving forward with what you've experienced over your last few years at GU. And in celebrating you, I want to challenge you, deeply so. And I promise that as I look down the roster of the different programs that y'all are headed into, I know that you've got plenty of challenges and plenty of celebration ahead of you. So I don't know how many of these ceremonies y'all will be going through over the next few days, but use them all, please. I think the contribution I'd like to try to make as part of that, and as part of using this ceremony and this event, to think about where you're headed, is to reflect on your identity and what the last few years at Gonzaga have meant for that, and what moving forward into a year or two of service and hopefully more commitment to community well into the future, what that means with regards to your identity. I know that we're supposed to be talking about giving and thinking about the other and then all that, but I bet a lot of you graduates are really are thinking about yourselves and what all the heck this means for you and how you're going to move forward and not knowing what's next. And that's okay. That's probably really good. I want you to be thinking about yourself over these next few days. And what I want you to be thinking about is the university experience at Gonzaga, I think, is beautifully structured to ask individuals to develop their identity as a person and as a member of community, and to try and figure out how you're going to go about expressing that for the common good and for service. But so much of the experience is framed around how can we, as a community of individuals, build ourselves into who we are and who we're supposed to be, right? Does that sound familiar? I hope Gonzaga hasn't changed too much over the last. So you're figuring out who the heck you are, right? That's what you've been working on. And the beauty of the strength and durability of community at Gonzaga is a lot about helping individuals grow as themselves. And the thing that I learned spending a year as a Jesuit volunteer, and that I've been learning for the last 5 years working for a social service agency and trying to do my best to contribute to the well-being of the community here in Spokane, is that as I figured myself out, I've been able to transition the idea of community towards that idea of giving back and understanding not just who I am, but who the community is around me, and how I can be a very good listener and identifier of who my community is, what's going on around me, what the challenges, what the opportunities are, and what I can do with my own unique talent and energy to contribute to that well-being. And I think one way of understanding the idea of community at a university like Gonzaga is to say it's a community intended to build the individual. And I'm hoping that in the choices that you all are making to move forward with an opportunity towards service, I can challenge you to think about how you as an individual can go about building community and prioritizing community over yourself. And that idea, I think, is something that I know is reflected in Jesuit Volunteer Corps. I know was something that I witnessed, and I traveled in Central America a fair amount, that I witnessed in Peace Corps volunteers and communities of Peace Corps volunteers who are working to go into communities that they didn't even know, but working to give of their talent for that. And I want you to start thinking about how you as an individual, with what you've learned over these last 4 years or so, what it is you can do to hear the story of the communities that you're about to step into, and what you can offer of yourself to make that community its best version. And I think what I'd like to do is, Chris gave a great introduction of some of the things I do, and that's all well and good, but I'd really like to share just some really brief anecdotes of folks that have impacted my life through their service, some of whom I worked alongside as a volunteer, but all of whom who I've seen actualizing some of the capacities that we all should be striving towards as individuals working to support the communities that we're going into. Does that sound okay? Cool. And as a further preface, I think I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, have thought about some of the tremendous challenges and difficulties and issues that affect many communities, affect our planet as a whole, and many of you have thought about what you're passionate about doing to address that in a technical sense. I know Ellen up here in the front row, we got to work together working on food issues, and Kurt, I think, is headed to Belize, is that right? Which is where he'll get to sit on the beach and drink coconut milk all day long, and it's going to be tough. But just regardless of the kind of technical goals that maybe you envision for yourself going in, I think there are some really practical things you can do to relate to your community, and that's kind of what I hope to share with you. So probably the person who impacted me the most when I was at Gonzaga was a young woman named Ada. She was a few years older than me, and she was very committed to service, but frankly, I don't remember any club that she was in or any social justice issue that she was particularly passionate about at the time. But I knew that she could heal wounds in people with her hospitality and her kindness, a smile alone. She had a tremendous gift for welcoming in people and just letting them be themselves. And I guarantee all of you, in your year or two of service and in all of years to come, you're going to interact with a lot of people who need that hospitality. I had the opportunity to travel, as I mentioned, in Central America after I graduated. I actually backed out of doing JVC right after GU to go and traipse around the world, and met another wonderful woman and friend, Megan Ramondi, and she was working at the CASA, which is a study abroad program in El Salvador. And CASA, I think, did anybody study at the CASA in the room? wonderful. It's a beautiful program, and there are so many opportunities to be generous of self and to listen and to hear stories in the CASA program. And the thing that Megan did best was to take time just to sit and listen, and to not strive to change anything or fix anything, even though she was having daily interactions with individuals and households that were experiencing enormous poverty and oppression. And her gift was simply to be present to it. And by not saying, oh my gosh, we need to fix this, or wringing her hands and crying her eyes out at how difficult it was, just being present, she was able to sit in solidarity with members of the community that welcomed her in. And that was an incredible lesson for me, because I'm somebody, I always want to fix things. As soon as I hear about a problem, I'm thinking about what the solution is. And it's taken me a very long time, and I'm still figuring it out, how just being present to the challenges that you're going to witness are going to make a very, very big difference. Also, while in El Salvador, I had the opportunity to meet several Jesuits at the university and in some of the communities I visited, and to hear stories of Jesuits past. And I think pretty much all Jesuits I've met are pretty stand-up, brave guys, and I don't think that anybody I met down there was necessarily any more courageous or brilliant or anything like that than any Jesuit that you maybe have interacted with here at GU. But their capacity to recognize their context and to say, I either have skills, knowledge, I have a voice, I have influence, and I'm a leader in my community, which I guarantee all of you have the capacity to offer those traits. And simply by looking around me and seeing what's needed, I'm going to work towards a more just and better world. It's not going to be complex. I'm not going to stand up on a big soapbox. I may not really even want to do this, but I'm going to recognize my position of capacity, and I'm going to be relentless in offering that position of influence, offering that talent to the community of people around me. That's something that was deeply impactful to me. I as a middle-class white guy, I need to be relentless in generosity in pursuit of justice. That's a capacity. I've got opportunities that maybe I probably don't deserve, but I'm going to do my darndest to make use of them. When I was at JV, who's going into JVC? Very cool. The great thing about JVC is you get put together in this household with people that you don't know, and you theoretically are all there for the same purpose, but you're actually not. And you all think you know exactly what everybody's thinking about how how sustainable you're going to be, or how frugal you're going to be, and I went in really radical and or I would say radically obnoxious. Probably I wanted to just totally go bare bones. And my community member John is a real kind of LA, Southern California guy. His idea of a good evening spent after a long day of working with chronically homeless inebriates was to check the box scores for the MBA. And I couldn't wrap my head around that, because it's like, okay, we got home from work, we had a hard day, let's go dumpster dive and not have to grocery shop because we're pulling pizzas out of the dumpster behind the Pizza Hut, and we're gonna live simple. John wonderfully taught me that this doesn't have to be, service can be very practical, and you can do it with a very peaceful heart, and you can do it while being yourself, and you can do it in a steadfast manner where day to day you identify what needs done and you do it. When you need support from your community, you ask for it. When your community asks for support, you provide it. But really, you're just doing your job. I think finally, the work I'm doing now, I've been doing for 5 years or so, and I'm surrounded by a wonderful community of people. And what's been interesting about it for me is I've grown I would say further into the things I've learned at Gonzaga. is that I've done it most all of it in Spokane, which is fairly peculiar. My relationship to Spokane is so different than what it was when I was at GU. And I think that I'm grateful for the fact that one of the things that's shown me in my effort to serve, and that made a big difference in my time as a JV and has made a big difference in my time working with Catholic Charities is that the best opportunity I have to pursue justice and well-being for the community around me and to really make a change is to basically be neighborly. And one of the interesting things about what y'all are doing is pretty much all of you are probably going somewhere you've never been before. And it's probably going to be somewhere radically different than you've ever been before. And that's a wonderful opportunity, and it's going to challenge you and help you grow in many ways. And it's also going to give you you're going to have a set of fresh eyes in the community that you're going into. You're going to see new solutions and opportunities that maybe nobody else would have seen. But it also means you have a lot of story and history to learn about. And you have a lot of just knowing the place that you're in, that you're going to need to pursue to really equip yourself to make the difference that I bet you're passionate about making in the work that you're about to go into. And I had no idea coming back to Spokane that there were so many people who were so good at building well-being and a better reality here in Spokane by just being Spokanites. And, they didn't have a title behind their name, and they weren't, chief change maker. They were just somebody that lived in a community and knew their place and knew what it needed as a consequence. And you're going to be the new kid on the block, so to speak, where you are. And I think that one of the most important things that I can offer to you as perspective and challenge you to try and pursue is to think about how you can go about listening to the story of the places that you're about to go into, and how you can be very open and aware, and how you can use that to reflect what's needed in the work that you're doing. And as you look ahead from this kind of turning point in your lives, as you're spending a lot of time, I think and I hope, thinking about who you are and how you work, your big challenge is going to be asking yourself, now that I've got some sense of myself here, how am I gonna have that awareness that I can see and hear the story and the lifeblood of the community around me, and what can I do to take that and build upon that story in a way that's positive and meaningful, and something that will lead to a more just and better community. I wish you all well. Thank you for this time. I can't wait for your challenges and your laughter and your opportunity and your success that sits before you. So, all the best. Cheers.
Brian, stand back up for just one moment. Brian likes food, so to make that food more flavorful, we got him some Zambia Gold honey from the partnership between Gonzaga students and some of the folks down there in Zambezi, Zambia. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Chris.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's start the ceremony, shall we? I'd like to call up Dr. Killen, Dr. Weitz, Father Case, and Dr. McCulloh to the stage to join me to my left. All right, here's going to be your first test of being able to follow instructions. So, Brady, I got this. I'm gonna tell him. You stand up. This is Brady Essman, and Brady's gonna be our usher. And the way this is gonna work is this first row is gonna come and queue up back here. You're gonna be first. And you're gonna come up here, you're gonna hand your card to Brady. You're gonna hand your card to Todd. And Todd's gonna hand it to me, and I'm gonna read your name. This is good practice for graduation. And you're gonna come across the front, maybe you all scoot over just a little bit. So don't get bottlenecked. You come across the front, you shake hands with all those folks, and they'll give you your pin. Does that sound good? You can do that? As they're starting to winnow down over here, that's your cue to maybe go through this way. Yeah, Brady? All the way back through here and cue back up on that line. Does that sound good? You can do this? All right, your first test. You're going to be doing this a lot over this weekend. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. I'll start talking as you get queued up. Brady will. The new university mission statement adopted in February of this year challenges us to educate students for lives of leadership and service for the common good. We strive to have the Gonzaga experience foster a mature commitment to the dignity of the human person, social justice, diversity, intercultural competence, global engagement, solidarity with the poor and the vulnerable, and care for the planet. These qualities that Gonzaga strives to develop in its students are clearly represented in the men and women you see before you. As the students come forward, I will read their names and where they will be serving next year. For the sake of time, please save your applause until all the students have been recognized. Ellen Jokerst, JVC Northwest. Dane Breslin, JVC Northwest. Matthew Morris, JVC Los Angeles. Kurt Gunther, JVC International. Laura Forrester, Teach for America, New York. Julia Hubbard, Young Adults in Global Mission, Malaysia. Catherine Dorner, JVC Los Angeles. Gurkirit Baguri, Peace Corps, Tonga. Melanie Grant, Teach for America, New Mexico. Edwin Torres, JVC International. Eleanor Cahill, Young Adults for Global Mission. Megan Edmonds, JVC, Pennsylvania. Aaron Lee Corin, Teach for America. Virginia Ann Whalen, JVC, Texas. Hannah Orissa Hanks, Peace Corps. Summer Wilkinson, AmeriCorps, California. She will be in America. Sloan Westerman, JVC, San Diego. Maite Urkar Eggi, JVC, San Diego. Haley Rieger, Vincentian Volunteers, Colorado. AJ Hostak, Teach for America, Detroit. Carly Snyder, JVC, Cleveland, Ohio. Mackenzie Snow, Reach Youth Ministries, Helena, Montana. Kanoilehua, Peace Corps. Elizabeth Martinez, Teach for America, New York. Catherine Hewitt, Peace Corps. Emmerich Bisbee, Teach for America. Carolyn Leo, JVC. Renata Williams, Teach for America. Megan Vanderslice, Nashville, Tennessee. Patricia Kathleen Bruckbauer, Lutheran Volunteer Corps, Washington, D.C. Zachary Michael Portnoy, Teach for America, New Orleans, Louisiana. Cassandra Leone, JVC in Alabama. Amin Bostic, Teach for America, Memphis, Tennessee. Tamasha Amidi, Teach for America, Seattle, Washington. Anastasia Eknomu, Teach for America, Los Angeles. Brianne Loomis, Teach for America, New Mexico. Caitlin Prager, Teach for America, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sarah Brown, JVC, Houston, Texas. Nicole Hall, JVC Northwest. Amanda Schmitz, Friends of the Orphans. Lauren Gibb, JVC in Boston, Massachusetts. Stephen Lund, Teach for America in Phoenix, Arizona. Salvatore David Schifano, JVC. Nancy Carl, Teach for America, Nashville, Tennessee. Moira Lane, JVC, New Orleans, Louisiana. And Marissa Alcorn, Pacific Alliance for Catholic Education. Now you may applaud. I have a new appreciation for all the deans of the colleges who read all the names at graduation. Thank you for your patience and your graciousness with me. I would once again like to invite Father Frank Case to the front to offer a missioning prayer for our graduates.
Could I ask the graduates to stand, please? And may all of the rest of us extend our hands upon them in blessing. Lord our God, send your Spirit upon these students and fill them with your wisdom and blessings as they enter upon a time of service to your people in need. In times long past, you sent your prophets to teach us your ways. Send these students to be shining lights of your love by their witness as persons for others, to your love for the entire world. Allow their service to reflect your perfect love to all. All-powerful God, you always show mercy towards those who love you, and you are never far away from those who seek you. Remain with these your servants along the holy paths that lie ahead for them, and guide their way in accord with your will. Shelter them with your protection by day, give them the light of your grace by night, and as their companion, always keep them safe and in your grace. And we bless them all in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. May you go in peace with a lot of courage and a sense of your own goodness. Amen.
This concludes our social justice missioning ceremony. Thank you for sharing this time with us and for helping us to celebrate the people that these students have become. I'd like to just do a few thank yous, only take a minute. First, thank you to Steve Schabel for the wonderful music today in the back here. I also want to thank two very important people that did all the work for this event. I just got to show up and talk about it, which was fun. They put in countless hours to make this ceremony possible. So first, Brady Essman. There's Brady. There she is. Brady is an undergraduate student who's our postgraduate service learning fellow and did a majority of the work here. So thank you, Brady. And also, and always, Susie Prush, our university events manager, for all that you do for graduation. Thank you. Where's Susie? There she is. One final thing before you leave. This is a new thing. So Gonzaga University, for the first time ever that I'm aware of anyways, has released a book of prayer, which is a compilation of prayers written by or the favorite prayers of members of our community. Many of the people in this room, including the students you see before you, contributed to this work, either contributing prayers or in the editing or the working of that process. And so our colleagues in University Ministry have brought many of those prayer books and have included them in the back of the small blue books. Please, if you are so inclined, take those as our gift to you, and please bring them with you on your journey, and I hope that they give you courage and strength in in all the wonderful times that you're going to have. And so finally, I'd like to invite you to our reception in the Herrick Club Room, which is over in the McCarthy Athletic Center. I'm pretty sure it's air conditioned, right? Yes, I believe that's true. Students, please stay for just one quick moment so that we can get a photo. Is Raj here? If he's not here, we'll just have parents and folks will get a chance to do photos. So please stick around for just 1 minute. And once again, thank you very much and have a wonderful weekend.